All right, what's up, folks? Today is October the 7th, 2025. I had a video that I was putting together to show you how I figured out or my process through getting my getting my speed, my update and download speed, my upload and download speed better. So my upload speed was already fine. It's where it was as far as the internet service provider goes. It was around 20 megabits per second, but my download speed was hovering around 100 megabits per second, which the internet service provider was offering or had provided to me around 500, 600 megabits. And I finally figured it out. The mesh system that I have for my router was limiting my performance. So I had it set up to what's the word? Um, Prioritize certain devices. So as it would seem, when you set up to prioritize certain devices, it sets aside an amount of bandwidth for those devices, and it takes away from everything else. So I just took away all the prioritization, and now I've got my 400 or 500 megabits per second. So I don't know how that's really going to affect my trading and everything, because 100 megabits per second seemed to give me all the data I needed. Now, I did see something on the forums, and I can do a video about this later. But something on the forums I saw, it wasn't even in the forums; it was in the help. But there is a symbol equal BYT, and that will show you the data. It's a tick base. See, it's a tick base stream, so we need to put for one tick, two ticks, whatever. But you just need to put it on ticks, not bars, and then equal BYT. So this is supposed to show you how much. I think it's how much data is going through your platform at any given time. So you can kind of leave this running in the background, and then you can see if you have a spike on the amount of data that comes into your a spike in the amount of data that comes into your platform. And how you would use this, I'm not 100% sure, but obviously it can let you know if you have periods of time to where you have X amount of data coming in. Now, like I said, if there is a cap, if there's a top point to where if you have X amount of data coming in, but your system can only really perform here, then you don't want to be in that situation. So I'm going to let this run today, and we'll see where it ends up, if I can make anything usable of it. All right, so what I'm doing today is, you guys know that I'm doing the 100, the 100 strategy challenge. And so one of the strategies I put in it just to, because penny stocks is not a lot of investment. Now, it can be a lot of investment if you have an algo that trades and it fails and it loses money, loses money. And then, you're all out of your money, which, it's one thing. But the other thing is, I would say, is a lower risk just to get your algos going as opposed to like trading futures or something on margin. And there's a cash account, and so once I run out of cash, it'll just stop trading. So no harm, no foul. Whereas if you trade with futures, when you're on margin, if you take a loss or if you get into a position and you don't have a stop on or something like that, they can margin call you, and that's a $75 hit right there each individual time. So I think regular stocks is a little bit safer to trade when you're getting your system set up. Although you know that I am very interested in um, my futures for trading. So that's probably the goal. But at any route, what I'm going to show you is, the idea to show you. So I have these penny stocks going on. This is the hot list of the day. So the hot list here, you see, these are the percent gainers for the day, over one day. And so I have them filtered by some volume and by just being penny stocks. So between $1.20 and $10. And so we have all these stocks come up here. So there's a couple other things I want to do with this RadarScreen, but in the meantime, this here, I moved some of those stocks over here onto my algo trading screen, and you can see where that one specific algo that I made, if it takes any trades. So you see this one, it didn't take any trades. This one, I think it did take a trade, but it was a loss. Yep. This one, it took a trade. It was a loss. This one, I think it took a trade also. Yep, but it was also a loss. It hit a stop. Pretty much, they worked in similar fashion. This one here, I don't remember what happened with that one. Oh, we're actively in a position. So I wonder how our stop is up here. If we got in here, must have came down and closed here. No, because the way that I have this algo set up, so it looks like it already took a, okay, this is a strategy here. This is a strategy down at the bottom. So we can do this, and we can turn that strategy off for the time being. All right. But like I said, here on this strategy, we would be getting in at the break of a high. Okay, so we would have been getting in here, stop down here, take profit up here. If this was the first time that it crossed over, then unless this was a spike up and down, this should have hit. So I don't know why it didn't hit. But anyway, you see we're risking 2 cents, right? 2 cents on $2. So I'm not betting the house until I've got some of this stuff kind of sorted out between the algos, order tickets, that kind of thing, as well as just the strategy, right? So one of the things I worked on over the weekend was this, which is not working. Well, it was working right for the weekend when there was no active volume going on. But here you see, this is crazy. So it's saying on plug that we're actively taking trades, which we're not. So I really need to just turn this one off. But the idea here was to find out what the P&L is for the day. Find out what the P&L is for the day. And then I can do a return on investment kind of a thing. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. I'm not sure if I want to kind of show you along the way or just make the code and then come back and give you the report of how to do it. But you guys know that I like to show you the work. I like to show you how I fish. And some of you guys will say, dude, you're not even on the bank fishing. You're like standing up at the car. So so some people won't like the way I fish. Some people will. A little bit of coffee. Sorry. All right, now look at this. Nah. All right, so let's pull up our development environment, and then we'll get to work. Like I said, that way we'll be able to see what our P&L is. I want it set up to where I can see what the P&L is steadily throughout the day instead of just only when we're in an open position. So the way I have this set up is that if we are long, then this will be green, but if we're flat or negative, then this will be red. All right, so let's just save everything and close everything. All right, come here. What are we doing? How did you get a, okay. All right. I think it's just gonna hover there for a while, huh? Nah, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. Okay, so I think the idea here is that we need to use the order ticket. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and like I said, I finally got the nerve to do it over the weekend. P&L RadarScreen. Okay, but I didn't know how to do it, and then I saw a little something on the forums giving an idea of how to do it. So I think what we have to do is we have to go into our toolbox and we have to use an orders provider. So this is pretty much just going to go through the orders. It's going to sort through the orders, and then it's going to give us what we're looking for. So I'm not even going to look for what's open. I'm just going to look for what's closed. We're going to try to find because I want to know the total P&L, closed P&L for the day, right? So if this one is just completely tanking, it'd be interesting to know that. It shouldn't really step in the way of the algo, but it'd be interesting to know that. So we're going to come over here to properties. We're going to open this up. We're just going to call this OP. And then let's see, do we want to load it? Yeah, we want to load it. And then as far as the filters, we're going to use the account that we're on and then the symbol that we're on. And then for the state, we're going to use the field state. Okay. State, no, that's, yes. Just like that. Okay, so what this is going to end up giving us, this is going to end up giving us a collection of the orders that have been filled. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to say, and we do want to do this. Let's see, do we want to do it on every interval here, or every time we have a new update in the order? Let's do it when we have a new update in the order collection. So, excuse me, this provider here, if there's an update in it, then we also want to, well, it should do an initial update too, so we might only really need this. But in order to just, as EasyLanguage coach would say, in order to drive this to do something on the initial bar, we probably need to plot something anyway, or do something like value 99 is equal to ticks. I've typically been doing close. EasyLanguage coach suggested using ticks here, but I think, as I understand, as long as you're using something that is required of a bar, open, high, low, close, or ticks, then you should be fine. But I think, yeah, because we could make this as an inch bar calculation. Okay, so I'll start using ticks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say if we have an updated event, then we're going to need a couple variables to sort through our collection. So we're going to take the beginning value, which will be a double entry price, and then we'll have a double exit price. I think this is going to help us. We're going to say for IDX of A is equal to 0 to op.count minus 1, begin, end. And now there could be, well, no, anytime it's updated, we should at least have a count of 1, because the order provider, when it's updated, even if there's no orders, it wouldn't be, I don't think it'll be updated. I tell you what, just to be on the safe side, let's just make sure that we have something in the orders provider before we go counting through it. So if op.count is greater than 0, then we're going to go through this loop. We're going to find out what the orders were, where they started, where they finished. So okay, we need a temporary order so that we can look into this order, because this is an orders provider. We're going to get orders out of it, but we need to temporarily have an order object so that we can find the parameters from that order object. So this will be a order, temp order. In order to use order here, we need to use tsdata.trading, I think. Yep, and there's order. Okay, so whenever we loop through this, we're going to say, hey, temp order is going to be equal to op of order at that index as type order. And then we're going to say if temp order dot, well, now, so this is going to be the tricky part. Okay, so this is where you're going to have to take it a step further. And right now, for what I'm doing, this works. But if you're taking shorts and taking longs, then you're going to have to figure out a different way to do this. But I'm going to say if temp order dot action equals, let's just go ahead and use using tsdata.trading and using tsdata.common, so we don't have to spell out these namespaces every time. So if the order action is, let's see, hang tight. Yeah, okay. All right, so if the order action is order action dot buy, then So because all of our buys and all of our sales, because we're closing at the end of supposedly closing at the end of every yeah, this might be different. No? Hmm. Yeah, because everything is field, orders provider. I'm trying to think here because this was different when I was working with a full day where all the orders were both were closed, right? Because I would have all open orders, all closed orders, and I could just add and take the difference of the two. But now I might be in a situation where there's an open, where there's an entry into a position. So that's a field open order, but it has not yet closed. So that's, so it doesn't have the opposite side. So that wouldn't work. Unless okay, I'm thinking here. In order to find the order that does not have a pair when we are only buying and selling, we need to ask, what is the last order that was placed? Okay, we'll say if there is an open order, if all the orders are closed, then we're going to do this. And if the orders are not closed, then we have to do something else. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to say orders provider.count is greater than 0, then we're going to do this. If temp order.action is a buy, then we're going to, so this is essentially just going to be a total buy price and a total exit price. And then we'll take the difference. Okay, so if temp order.action is the order action then buy, then total entry price plus equals the price that we bought it, the field price. So temp order dot not field price. I think it's like average field price. Average field price. Okay, and then before we use this total entry price, because we couldn't designate what the start, what the initial value is, you would assume it would be 0, but you should not assume. Okay, so we need to say total entry price is equal to 0. We'll also do that for total exit price is equal to 0. Okay, and then, like I said, for index, you don't have to because you're assigning that it's 0 there. So total entry price, average field price. Okay, so now we need to say if temp, I mean, you could do an else. We'll do an else. Else if temp order dot, and that way we can prevent from going and reading more code if we've already done what we needed to with the initial buy. Temp order dot action equals order action dot sell, then total entry or total exit price plus equals temp order dot field, nope, average field price. Okay, so now you have your total entry prices and your total exit prices. So now when we get to the end of this, loop, we can say, give me the difference. So double PL, P&L. I think we can do that. P and L is equal. I don't know if we can do that. That's looking blue. I'm thinking we can't name something with a symbol like that. profit loss. So profit loss is going to be equal to the, so that we can get a positive integer, if we do have a profit, we're going to say the total exit price minus the total entry price. Okay, and let's see. We're going to bring that out to the method, to the module side, so that the entire program can use it. That way we can update on every bar. Otherwise, with RadarScreen, we will lose this value because it's within a method when we get ready to try to show it again on the next tick. So let's do variable intrabar persist. We're going to do profit loss there. And so profit loss is here, and then we can go ahead and plot one will be profit loss P and L. Okay, and then on every bar, we're also going to plot that profit loss. Okay, so, but if the profit loss is 0, well, so you could do this multiple ways. The way I'm just going to do this the way I want to do it for right now. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that if the profit loss is 0, then we're not going to plot anything, but otherwise we will plot something. Now, some of the times you might be in a position, you're up $5 and then you're down $5. Now it's 0. And so you do want to know that you were in and out of profit prior to, with the glance at the chart, that you are at 0. So, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to say, if it's 0, then I don't really care. I don't want to know about it. But you may want to know about it, especially if you're considering commissions and all that kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind. So if profit loss is not 0, then we're going to plot it. So we need to do the same thing here. Like I said, there's different ways you could go about this. If you do make a calculation within here, then you may say you may have a modifier on profit loss, or you might change the color of the background or something like that. You can attach different things different ways. And I may find that I want to go back and do that later, but that's not what I want to do right now. Okay, so the other thing I was telling you is that if we have an open position, that's the thing. So if we have an open position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another orders provider. And if you can think of a better way to do this, then let me know. But right now we're going to have another orders provider. It's going to be this one. And then we're going to call this one open, OP open. So to let me know that I have an open position, OP open. And this is going to be true also. Now this one needs to stay true because it wants to, it needs to stay looking. But, well, this one will stay open also, because if we get a new order, we want to come back through here and look. Okay, so for this one, we're looking for, let's see. What are we looking for? No, we're not looking for another orders provider. We're looking for a position provider. So, because we want to know if we're in a position. PP, true. Get account ID, symbol, and that should do it. Okay, so now count is equal to 0, greater than 0, then we're going to do a begin, and I think I'm going to do a case switch on this. Switch case. Okay, so we're going to switch the case, switch pp.try position of symbol get account ID. If we have a position on, then if we don't have a position on, then we're going to go through this route here, because that's so if we don't have a position on, if it's false, so begin this. We always need to work on the profit loss. So switch begin end, and then this is the begin end for our loop. Try to keep everything organized here. And then this is the first case. This case here would be if, is it null? Is the position null? This would be case true. Begin, end. Okay, and then case of false, begin, end. So what do we need to do if it's false? If it's false, that means that we have a position on. So we need to somehow not capture the last order. So we need to do all these calculations but not capture that last order. So let's go ahead and copy this. So we need to say, okay, so we'll just do this if it's not the last order. So we'll get the order ID. If the order ID is not equal to the most recent order, so we will need an orders provider. And have to think about it. Maybe I could have done this all. I guess I could have done this all as one orders provider, and then just filtered through and just said, hey, when I'm up here, just say, hey, is it of order state field or is it of order state? I guess they're all field. Okay, yeah, so I don't need a new orders provider. All right, so what I need to do is just say, is it the most, if we do have a position on, then, well, we can't look for the most recent. Yes, if we do have a position on, then we bought here, right? And then we have a stop loss and a take profit. So this is a buy, this is a sale, and this is a sale. So, but we don't know if this buy is index 0, index 1, index 2, or if this is index 2, 1, 0. So we can't really go by the index. We have to go by the action. So that's where we do need a new orders provider. Okay, so we're going to have an orders provider that says OP open buy. And then we'll make this true. And then we'll do get account ID symbol. And this will be state buy. Okay. No. This would be field. All right, I'm going in a circle here. Okay, so we know that they're field, but we need we would like to have, see, this here is orders. These are the orders to be received. We want to know if we can filter it by action, which we can't filter it by action. So we don't really need this. We don't need this. What we do need is before we come down into here, well, I guess technically we'd only have to do it if we're here. But and I'm going to do this what's in my head right now. I'm sure later on as I work with it more, I'll come up with a better idea that's a little bit more efficient. But what we're going to do, let's see what's going on here. Okay, good. All that's working. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to filter through here. We need to filter through this collection and just say, what is the most recent buy order, right? Because we know that we have a buy order that has not been sold yet. So we need to say, what is the most recent buy order? And if we find the most recent buy order, then we don't want to include that in the total entry price. Okay, so we need to have another loop. We'll make this IDX of B. And we'll say for IDX of B equals 0 to let's see, if we just go in order from 0, okay, so we're going in order from 0 up. So we'll just say, hey, whenever we hit that first buy order, just don't include it. Yeah, we can do that. So if temp now how would we make that work? So the way I like to do this bit of the programming is just to say it out loud, or to speak it, or to try to make a clear statement about what you want to do, and then just code it. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take the first buy order and not cumulative add it. Okay, so in order to do that, what we need to do, what we're doing is we're tagging an order, and then we're not going to use it. So we can use some type of flag, right? So flag first, make it a Boolean, and then before we start this update, this block here, we're going to make sure that flag first is equal to false, because we haven't found a first order. Okay, so if temp order dot action is equal to order action dot buy, then then flag first equals true. So now we can come down here and say, if we have a temp order action dot buy and flag first, and there's probably another better way to do this, but whatever, and flag first equals false, then we're going to do this. Then we'll add it. Okay, that should be right. And because the else is fine here, because it's just saying if that's not true, then what else could be true? We're saying, oh, well, if it's a sale, then we'll do this. So, all right, so, but you only want this to flag the first time. So if temp order dot, so if we come in and we are at the first, so we're at the beginning, right? So flag first is equal to false. So if flag first equals false, and we get this action that's a buy, then we want to turn flag first equal to true. And now we come down here and we say, if it's a buy and flag first is false, which this could happen even if this is not a buy. So if flag first equals false and it's a buy, then flag first is true. If the order action is a buy and flag first is false, okay, you know what? I think instead of using a flag, because you have to turn the flag off, I think I will use counts. And some of you guys are probably count buys. Some of you guys are probably looking and saying, "Oh man, you should have used the Boolean." I see the way. Well, you know what? At the time, I don't see the way, and I could either fumble with it a little bit longer and then see my way back to it, or I could just take this more clear path. And I feel like this is a more clear path, so we'll see. All right, so count. So count buys is going to be equal to 0. Okay, and so if count buys equals 0, and we have our first buy, then count buys equals 1, or we'll do, if it's a type buy order, so we'll just count all the buys. If the order action is a buy type, then count buys plus equals 1. Okay, so we know we start off with 0 here, so we're going to add 1 there. So if buys is, well, we just, this made it way easier actually. All right, so what we're going to say is if we're at that first buy, we're not going to do anything. But if we're at the second buy, then we can add. Okay, so this made it way easier. And that's why I try to program a lot, because if count buys is greater than 1, or we could say greater than or equal to 2, just to make it clear. Okay, so if we're not on that first one, that first buy, but if we're on the second one or some other one, then we can add it. Yeah, this because our orders for the sales won't be in this collection, because we're only looking at field orders, right? So when they show up on here, they will be received, but they won't be field. So we don't have to worry about the exit side of this. We just are working on the buy side. Okay, all right, I like it. But yeah, again, that's why I like programming, because you'll learn things, and I need to, where are my notes at? I need to make a note of this to use the counts. Consider using counts versus flags when the situation arises. So let me make a note of that. 10:07. Consider counts versus flags when processes require when they require what? When they require we'll just put modification based on sequence. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. I think that's, now I'm sure there's gonna be some errors here, but I think that's mostly it. Internal error occurred due to improper syntax. That That sounds like something that I would be responsible for. Yes, yes, yes. All right, using tsdata.trading common inchbar persist profit loss 0 method void OP updated int IDX B double entry double exit comma int C buys temp order trading that order T order. We'll take this out just to make that. All right, and then we're going to have begin. Our buys is equal 0. Those are equal to 0. If OP count, then begin, and our begin end. Hopefully, I've got the right number of begin ends here. All right, IDX of A 0 to OP count -1. Begin switch PP transition try position symbol get account ID equals null. Begin end case of true. Got to begin end. Temp order is the order as type order. Is buy, then entry price plus equals the average field price. Else action at sale plus equals temp order dot average field price. False. Begin end. Okay. Temp order OP order type order if temp order buy C buys plus equal to 1. Order action dot buy and order action dot buy and C buy is greater than or equal to 2, then that else temp order dot action equals order action dot sale, then that's begin end for that. This is the begin, this is the end to this begin, and then this is the begin to this end, and then this is the end to this begin, and then this is the begin to this end. So that should all be right. All right, so profit loss is the difference here. If profit loss is not 0, then profit loss is profit loss P&L. I don't know why I have this again. We'll get rid of that. Okay. All right, improper syntax. So let's go over to OP and the PP. Just make sure that those guys are happy. OP, true. OP, get account ID, symbol, field. PP. Positions provider, get account ID, symbol. Order types, long, short. Ooh, we could have done that also. So that's useful just in the future. If you're long or short, which we are long, because we're just doing these stocks here. All right. Verify that, but still some error here using tsdata.trading tsdata.com. Okay, line 1. It seems to be pointing to the beginning here. So let's see. Let me just get that out of there. Then this is saying we know that this will be tsdata.trading.order class. Same thing there. Copy, paste. All right, and paste. This will be, I think this is TS, I think this is a common, the TS data.common dot order action. No. This is not common. This must be then, oh, this is trading. Yeah, trading.order action. I don't think that this is the problem, but we're going to try making these changes anyway, and then we'll work our way back. TS, oh shucks. Oh man, what did I do? Copy. That order action. That order action. Buy. Sell. Buy. That's that, and still have it. A lot of times you get funky stuff with your declarations, like here. So most times I'll keep this on the same line, but if you don't have this right, if you don't have the type or the class, and then your variable, you'll get something wrong. Have that. OP, the name is fine. Yeah, this is so what you do here now is I probably just have something spelled wrong and I'm just not seeing it. Or this profit loss here, even though it doesn't look like a reserve word, could be a reserve word, and it's just spitting it back out. Look at that. I think that was the issue. I don't know. We're going to try that there, though. That there, though. Nope. Still have an error. I feel like it's looking at me right in my face. But you see when you go down here and you look and you see that says it's not verified. I try to save it. I get this error, but then it says it's on line 1. Well, line 1 isn't really anything. So this error window doesn't really help you out a whole lot. And for somebody who is newly programming, when this doesn't help you out a whole lot, you have no freaking clue where to go to. But now sometimes you get this improper syntax when you're doing stuff like with your case switch. If you don't have the begin and end in the right place, that kind of thing. So we'll just have to kind of narrow it down. But again, I feel like this takes, and I'm not an advanced programmer by any means. I'm not a professional programmer. I'm not a financial advisor. I have to say all that stuff, right? But if I was like really new, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know where to go. I just say, hey man, this isn't worth my time. So what I'm going to do now is, because I'm still getting these errors here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment out certain sections. When you comment out certain sections, then you can rerun it. If you don't get any errors, then you'll say, hey, cool, way to go. All right, so what you don't want to comment out is you typically don't want to comment out your variables, your namespaces, that kind of thing. But so what I will comment out is everything that's in the block. Now this will affect how your program runs, but while you're doing this debugging, it's not a big deal. So now once I verify this, if this error goes away, then my problem is within this block. Verify. Problem goes away. Problem is within this block. Okay, so I'll undo this. Now I'll look within this block and see what's going on. What would cause me to have a type of error, improper syntax. Okay, so my case true being begin in, that's fine. Now I could take that one step further, what you just saw me do. I could take it one step further and um, come in here and do that in here, but I'm going to do that in a second. I like to look it over. I like, because I feel like that makes me a little bit stronger programmer. The my watchful eye, my being able to see what the problem is instead of asking and somebody telling you what the problem is. Okay, so case true, begin in. That's important. Okay. Um, temp order, so order as type. Okay, temp order dot action by, then do this, else sell, then do that. I don't see anything wrong with that, but op.order of whatever this index is as type trading order. Now, if the action is buy, then C buy is plus equal to 1, which we can do because C buys is an integer. Start off at 0. C buys is greater than 2, and total entry price plus equals this field price. Else, I don't see it. I just don't see it. So let's tell you what, I'm gonna try this one first. Verified it, no errors. Okay, so obviously my issue is here. My issue is saying like this can't be equal to null, right? Or, oh, you know what? I wonder if I don't have that right. Nope, symbol and then account. Okay, so I have symbol and then I have account. Okay, so pp.try position. So I'm saying if try position is equal to null, that's a true or false. That's true, false. So this should be fine. This should be fine. I don't know why that won't work like that. Can we say not equal to null? And then it likes that? No, it doesn't like that either, which... Or maybe you just can't use that in a switch situation? As a switch? I don't know. I'm about to learn something. Boolean position, no, position found. Copy. We're going to, when we come in here for the loop, instead of doing this here, we're going to do it here. So position found is equal to we'll just make it equal to whatever the try position is. No. No errors. So the switch won't let you compare try position to null as the as the key or as the entry, but it will let you assign it to another variable. And then, so again, I didn't know that. That's something new for me. All right, so whatever. I mean, I'll ask the folks in the forums about it because I'm very curious about it. All right, let's see how much money we've lost along the way. Took another loss. Okay, this is the one that we're in for the longest time. Took a loss, of course. Whatever. All right, so this is P&L RS. Let's see if it works the way that we have it. Usually it doesn't. Usually you have to do a little bit more work to it. P&L, add that. Okay. what happened to it. Did I not do the right one? Oh, I didn't do the right one. I need to do PL, P&L RS. That was RS P&L. I'm trying to name the RadarScreen ones with RS at the beginning of it. So that means that this one I didn't name quite right. So I need to come back and oh, this was an indicator. This was not a show me. This was an indicator. And that's up. Well, either way. All right. Okay. Well, it worked. And seems like it worked. Okay. So now what we're really curious at is I don't have the open P&L. Well, so this would just be something I have to look through later in the day. I don't have the open P&L working, within this. This is just the closed P&L, and so these were positive. What? NAK BJDX APVO. Okay. Yep, that one was positive. This one, I have the algo set up to where when it puts an order on, if it doesn't fill the order within 1 bar, because these are 5-minute bars, if it doesn't fill the order within 1 bar, then it will cancel the order. So if I had to let this still run, then this order here would have been tapped in on this bar and we'd be in position. So, and we probably would have, taken profit, which is fine. But, in the larger grand scheme of things, if your order doesn't get filled within X amount of time, if you're looking at limit orders, then you just need to kind of chop it up. All right, but what I want to do is, instead of having these as red, let's make these green. The winners, 14 cents. Let's make the winners green. So I think I'm effectively up on the day. All right, so so we'll make another method that just says plot method void x plot PL, and then we're going to drag this into here. All right, you went to sleep on me. Okay, come on. What? What is going on? Okay, something went to sleep on me here. I don't know what in the world just happened, but that's why I have my laptop set up, ready to go, so I can do some programming on my laptop, and then I can let my main desktop system do a lot of the algo trading and that kind of thing. I am surprised though. So this desktop is running a it's an i5 Intel processor, and I think I've got like 32 gigabytes, maybe 64 gigabytes of RAM, which I didn't really see much of a change in the performance with the RAM change. So my new laptop I went with the Ryzen just to see what the difference looks like. And I'm not sure if I understand what the difference is between laptop and computer. The computer is still way faster, way faster. The laptop is an AMD Ryzen. It's the 7. But the desktop is way faster. And when you hear the desktop run and you understand the process and the heat that is blowing and everything, it just makes sense. I mean, I'm not saying that a Tesla runs cool and a Corvette runs hot, because those are two different technologies. But the computer throws a lot of heat. I think it's doing that for a reason, right? So anyway, again, I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't understand all that, but I do understand EasyLanguage coach. He helped me. He let me know. He said, "Hey man, the computer runs by ones and zeros, electrical impulses, impulse, right? So the more processing, the more computing that you're doing, it's a bunch more ones and zeros. It's a bunch more impulses. Electrical impulses generate heat as they move, right? So you're going to be generating a lot of heat. So yeah, it makes sense that these laptops, they're nice and they're cool looking, and you can throw them back in your book bag. They're not going to get super hot. They don't have large fans to process the heat or to manage dissipation of heat. So they might just not be that fast or powerful. So I know technology will change that. And my newer laptop is much faster than my older laptop. I mean, I can say that, but I'm just saying that there is a difference between the desktop and laptop. Laptop. All right. So what I'm doing now is we're going to say if this then that. If profit loss is greater than 0, or we could do a switch here. We've been having our time with switches today. Switch, profit loss, begin, and all right, case greater than 0, begin, end will be set plot background color. No, we'll just set the color. Set plot color 1 to blue, and case less than 0, begin, end, set plot color 1 to red. All right, and then we're going to call on this when. We're going to call on it here. X set plot. And we also are going to call on it on every bar. We really need to call on it. So this really doesn't need to be an intrabar persist because we're updating as the orders are updating. So we'll take some pressure off the system by making it not an intrabar persist. Verify that. X set plot, X set plot, X set plot. We'll just make this change. Okay, now there you go. We got the blues and then we got the greens. So the greens, we're down 19, 2, 21, 25, and we're up 14, 23, 25, 33. Okay. All right. So, penny stocks, what do you expect? All right. Yeah, I'd love to see that move forward. Hang on. Let me see if I can generate a curve here. Okay. Well, wasn't able to generate the curve like I would expect to see. I believe that when you look at the commissions that are actually charged versus the commissions that they have in the report, they're not the same. So that's one thing. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to call in and see what I need to do to either change that, or if that's something that you can't change and you just have to live with. But yeah, I like this. Today is a good day. I like this. All right, guys. I hope you got a little something out of this program today. As always, share this with somebody you love. I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.